I'd like to call tonight's regular meeting of council to order. Recommendation that the agenda for the regular council meeting of October 22nd, 2018 be adopted with late agenda item 6D, Blue Ribbon Select Standing Committee on Renumeration. Moved by Councillor Moreau, second by Councillor Niche. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Item 3A, recommendation the minutes of the special council meeting of October 9th, 2018 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Ranhawa. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Item 3B, recommendation of the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 9th, 2018 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Niche. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. First, we have a report from our Director of Recreation and Community Services regarding the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund grant application for Prince Rupert Emergency Social Services. Welcome. Do you need the computer to be on? Okay.
Hi everyone, I specifically made that subject line as long and complicated as possible. I'm here to recommend that Council approve a grant application to UBCM's Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for $11,100 towards the Prince Rupert Emergency Social Services Program. That money will be used to fund the continued growth of the Prince Rupert Emergency Social Services team through volunteer recruitment and retention, training, and increased deployment capacity.
Thank you. Any questions from Council? Councillor Renhouse?
So do we have any committee already here for the, or we will pick up the committee for that?
Sorry, I'm not sure I follow.
You said like you use that money for the committee, right? So we already have that committee, or we will pick up that committee?
We already have a volunteer team. My purpose is to grow it and increase the capacity.
The Recreation Center is also the ESS station for emergencies, and when, for example, when the wildfires happened this summertime, they called upon them to open up the rec center to be able to take intake of people that were, leaving their communities due to fires and stuff. And so this money would go directly to those types of programs related to the emergency social services, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Specifically to recruit more volunteers for our level 1 team. So dealing with kind of the local emergencies.
Other questions? Okay, moved by Councillor Ranhawa to approve the recommendation, second by Councillor Cunningham. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Next up, we have a report from our Chief Financial... Oh, thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. And good job, by the way. Sorry, now I've got myself all confused here. Report from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2019 Community Enhancement Grants.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Each year, Council approves community enhancement grants to assist local organizations that provide services to the community. It is expected that the city's 2019 operating fund budget will remain relatively the same compared to 2018, with the following exceptions. New taxation from new projects will be allocated towards the regular inflationary cost increases and the yearly decline in major industry assessment values. It is expected that this will neutralize the impact. New revenues obtained through lease fees are projected to be utilized to cover the significant capital projects the city will be undertaking in the next 5 years, which will mitigate the need for a tax increase to pay for these capital builds. With these expectations in mind, Finance does not anticipate any new funding being available to increase the community enhancement grants for 2019. In keeping with the city's need to maintain operations and still support the community enhancement grants with minimal taxation impacts, staff recommend funding grants up to a maximum of $748,000. This does not include funding amounts under agreement with the museum, the Performing Arts Center, the SPCA, the Racquet Club, and the Golf Club. If the funding under agreements is included, the total amount provided by the city for 2019 community groups is $1,188,500. To aid Council, Finance has provided its recommendations for funding in order to meet the $748,000 maximum, excluding the contractual community agreements.
Thank you, Ms. Baumann. Comments from Council? No comments? Councillor Niche?
Once again, we find ourselves having the same problem with new applicants. Let's see what's going on there. Oh, better now. So every year we find ourselves in the same problem. New applicants wanting money. Contractual obligations such as the library is making the budget go up more, and that, along with other reasons, we're just having a hard time trying to find a way to help new people or to help some of these groups that have basically got the same amount of money year after year. So I guess, this year with the new council members coming on, I guess we're going to have to maybe come up with a new way to do this once again. I think we've tweaked it a bit over the years, but I think we still need to tweak it even further. But unfortunately, the bank has only got so much money in it, and we're just going to have to go about it the same way, I believe, and just take the minimum increases we have to do and go with the staff recommendation.
Councillor Renhawa?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Niche comment about our money and increase in taxes. But I was looking for if we could help somebody for the immigration and multiculture's request about ESL classes, because college they don't do anymore and they try to do ESL classes there, and they were asking for funding, and but we don't have much fund for that. So I was looking if we can write down letter to college if they can start the ESL classes, because we do need some for the new immigrants so they can upgrade their English. So is it possible we can write down letter to college at least?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Other comments? Councillor Cunningham and then Councillor Moreau.
Well, I tend to agree with Councillor Nice that we've been using this formula for quite a while. We need to come up with a new one. With the new council coming in the next month, I think we should sit down with them and try and come up with a new formula. We've discussed it and haven't done anything about it, so I think it's the fairest way to go. Maybe in the new year we'll come up with more money too to give out. But until we get more money coming in, we'll just have to come up with a new formula, I believe.
Councillor Moreau?
Yeah, I just want to add to that point. I'm in complete agreement with Councillor Cunningham, or actually all councillors here. But the one thing I do want to, if everyone's partial to it, is to suggest an amendment that we also add to the recommendation that we also direct staff to recommend a new in-kind community enhancement grant process, because we realized that was kind of one of the key issues in this, is someone asking for an in-kind donation versus a cash donation, and I think that would be a significant improvement moving forward, but then also to ask for recommendations on modernizing the process in the future, because I think we can all see the current process. Asking these community groups to come hat in hand every year is not suiting anyone's interests, and it's a constant frustration every year. So if you guys are open to that, I'd like to move the recommendation with that amendment.
Sounds good. Any seconders? Seconded by Councillor Niche. So I'll just say too that I completely agree. I think it's time for a reinvention of the community enhancement grant process, one that makes sense, allows new people to be able to apply, allows us to be able to be more flexible. We kind of seem to be locked into just once you're in, you seem to be in, and that's that type of thing. And it's not fair to other community groups that are working hard in the community. And this year I agree that we just hold the line and come up with a new process. So I do agree with the recommendation by staff. And then hopefully by the time next year rolls around, we have a new process in place that is different in nature for sure. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, next up, a report from our city manager regarding the Woodworth Dam replacement project, which is the phase 2 of our waterworks project.
As you can see from my report, it's pretty straightforward. Recommending, and I never know how to say this,
Eiffage?
Eiffage, there we go, at the lowest bid.
Any questions from council? Okay, so, Councillor Niche.
I was just going to say, even if we wanted to, I don't think we can afford a $33 million dam. So the reality is this is not a tourist destination like the Hoover Dam, and we just need to make it simple and make it work and do all the things we need it to do, which is hold water. So I'm definitely in agreement with the recommendation.
Any other comments? Did someone move the motion? So moved by Councillor Renhour, seconded by Councillor Niche. Okay, further discussion? I'll just quickly say that this is one of the Redesign Rupert Hallmark projects, or the flagship projects. So now we're moving into, what did I say, redesign? Too many re's. Rebuild Rupert, and it's nice to see that this project's gonna be moving forward now. We got the road now up to the dam built. We got the lines being replaced, all that type of thing. So this is now the second phase, and we're still looking for the third phase of funding, which is the water lines that will come through into the mainland from the into the island from the mainland. So it's a good work on the staff. I know this has been a lot of work, and I just want to commend them for all the hard work they've been doing on this. So that being said, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. More good news. Okay, next I brought a resolution forward here, calling this the Blue Ribbon Select Standing Committee on Renumeration. So as everyone is probably aware or not aware of, is that starting on January 1st, 2019, the federal government has chosen to terminate the 1/3 tax exemption that is applied to all council remuneration across the country. This has resulted in the city councils across all of Canada having to increase council remuneration just in order to make the same level of compensation they do now. So back in June in Prince George, the mayor's remuneration was increased from $98,826 in 2017 to $127,889 in 2019, while their city councilors saw an increase from $32,936 in 2017 to $37,466 in 2019, as a result of recommendations they received by an advisory committee on council remuneration due to the impacts by the federal government. So this is something that is being forced upon all regional districts and all councils. So that being said, what I'd like to do is establish a blue ribbon select standing committee on remuneration with members from the community to analyze and make recommendations on the following. Make a recommendation regarding how to address the impacts the removal of the 1/3 federal tax exemption will have on council remuneration. Make a recommendation on appropriate mayor or council remuneration moving forward, and make a recommendation on appropriate daily per diem framework moving forward. So the recommendation would be to develop a terms of reference and establish a blue ribbon select standing committee on remuneration with members from the community in order to make a final recommendation to council by the end of December 2018. So that would be what the recommendation is. So I'll move that and second by Councillor Moreau. So discussion.
Thanks very much for putting this together. I mean, obviously this role it's a balance of public service and there's an element of volunteerism in it, but also obviously that you do have to set compensation for the time and work of this role. I'm not really a fan of politicians setting their own wages, so I'm definitely in favor of this committee. I think this is a good idea to get a comparison with other communities made explicit so that we can at least have a recommendation on what the benchmarks should be. So I'm definitely in favor of this committee.
Thanks. Councillor Renhour.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you have any idea who can be in committee? Like, you have any idea?
We'll do a call out for applications and ask community members to sit down on a committee, and then they'll be tasked to come up with a report that will analyze different communities, things like that. And so that is done in a way that is comprehensive and fair and those type of things. Ultimately, if we don't do this, then the existing wages that councillors are doing now will actually be a decrease in pay for them on the existing wage due to the fact that 1/3 of their taxes won't be exempt by the federal government anymore. And so an adjustment should be made to at least get you to the same level of pay that you're getting now. Councillor Cunningham.
One of the things I might want to have this committee look at is the one, if we could afford any raises, and two, the impact on our tax structure if we do get a raise.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be a raise necessarily, unless they recommend one. But ultimately, you're actually getting a decrease in pay. But yes, that could be part of it, is to analyze it on the city's budget, and the intention would be have one of our staff members on the committee so that it's in line with where the city is going with those things. So we'll add that to that.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of fair.
Absolutely.
Look at the other side of it.
Other comments? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. So we'll get on that right away. Next up, we have correspondence from Action. 7A, an email from Catherine Conroy from the Ministry of Children and Family Development. It's a proclamation request to proclaim October 2018 as Foster Family Month in the City of Prince Rupert. Moved by Councillor Renhawa, seconded by Councillor Moreau. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. 7B, we have a memo from the Rotary Club of Prince Rupert, another proclamation request to proclaim October 24th, 2018 as World Polio Day in the City of Prince Rupert. There's no fiduciary interest in this nature of this resolution, correct? Right? You're fine to stay. So, anyone want to make the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Cunningham. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Next, we have a report of bylaw change from our corporate administrator on an interesting technicality of a procedure ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The attached bylaw amendment is to do with a simple word change with regards to the inaugural meeting of the new council term. Within the current council procedural bylaw number 3092-2000, it states that the first regular council meeting following a general local election must be held on the first Monday in December following the general election. However, given the change to the 2018 municipal elections being held a month earlier, the proposed amendment would simply change this to read that the first regular council meeting following a general local election must be held on the first Monday in the month following the general local election. Therein, staff recommends that council introduce and give first, second, and third readings to the council procedure bylaw amendment number 3431-2018. Thanks.
Moved by Councillor Niche, seconded by Councillor Renhawa. Discussion, is that clear to everybody? So no matter when the election changes, the inauguration date will change with it. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, before we go into reports from council, I just want to say two things. First is a congratulations to all the councillors here today for being re-elected, and I know that we'll all be working together here for the next 4 years. So I just want to congratulate you guys on your victories in the election. And then I also wanted to, and unfortunately, it's a bit anticlimactic because Joy Thorkelson's not here tonight, and not able to make it. And we wanted to kind of do, some flowers and all those types of things, but unfortunately she has some other things to attend to. But I thought it would be nice if councillors wanted to say a few words about Joy and her service to the community and her time here on council. And if anybody wants to say a few words about her, then we'll do a little bit of a round if that's fine with everybody. So maybe Councillor Renhawa.
Yeah, thank you. She done great job for our community, I would say, and she not shy to say anything for best interest of our community. And I learned personally a lot, and she was my benchmate, and lots of time I had discussion with her, and I learned a lot of her, and we will miss her.
Well, Joy and I go back a long way. She's the one that sort of got me to sit in this seat in the first place, and we're still friends. So that says a lot for her. She's served 3 terms on council, and she's always advocated sometimes for the underprivileged and homeless and things like this. She's always got a soft heart for a cause. She's always had her mindset on fisheries and everything, and this is her next step in her political career. She's now the president for Unifor for the fisheries. She's she's been a great advocate for the city and the council. She's stood up for issues that she thinks are right, whether everyone's against her or not. She's been quite a figure in this town for many years, whether it's labor, city council, or just what she thinks right. And I really think she's going to be missed around this table. You know, she's always held us to a higher standard at any time. She expects a lot from us. And we've at times fought tooth and nail with her and that, but at the end of the day, we all walked out of here smiling. And I just think that she deserves a lot of accolades for what she's done.
Councillor Nish?
I know after 4 years what it's like. I can only imagine what it feels like after, I believe, 12 years for her. So all I have to say is, thank you from, for putting in that amount of time, because it is a lot of time to put into something. 12 years into, it's not that it's volunteer, but it's definitely not. There's a lot of time put into it, and she has put in a lot of time and effort over the years. And thank you once again.
Councillor Morrow?
That's exactly what I was going to say, actually. I think as the ranking member of council, when we were all new just 4 years ago, she was an example for all of us on preparation and thoroughness. So I know that I'm a better councillor because of her. So and I think the city was lucky to have her in service for the last 12 years, and it's an example to live by. So thank you, Joy.
And I will say that I have also known Joy Thorkelson for a very long time, actually, since I was 5 years old, because I went to school with her kids, and we all were in French immersion together at the Westview Elementary School and into high school. So Joy has been mentoring me for a long time in my life, and now professionally working with her on council, you can definitely say that Joy Thorkelson is a champion for things that are not fair. She believes in fairness. She will argue. She will put the facts out there. And the one thing I really appreciate about Joy is that even if she doesn't get her way or doesn't get the resolution passed that she wanted, she would always, it would be water on the bridge, and there would be no hard feelings. And she knew that, you know what, I'll fight as hard as I can. And if the determination came through, she was happy to move on and continue being professional. And as Councillor Cunningham said, I consider her a friend. She's been in my life my whole life, and I know that this isn't the last of Joy Thorkelson. We'll probably be hearing from her again in her role as the president there for the union, and all the work she's doing now with the provincial government. So I wish her all the best and success in that endeavor, and for her to find the resolution that she's been looking for through those mechanisms with the province in that industry. And I think I see that she's getting a lot of progress made there. So thank you to Joy, and I wish she was here right now to be able to hear all this. But I'm sure, knowing Joy, she will actually watch this recording and hear it all later. So yeah. That being said, we'll move into council reports on our last official meeting as this council. Councillor Nish.
It's part of the rules of the Rec Commission, and as the chair of the Rec Commission, I have to report to you guys because we are making a subcommittee, and the purpose of this subcommittee is to create a policy to provide the citizens of Prince Rupert with a fair and consistent and appropriate policy on how recreation space is to be allocated. So this is a committee there is 4 of us that are all on the Rec Commission that will be gathering and having a couple meetings to create a policy. So I have to inform you about this, so that's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Councillor Nish. Other reports from council. Councillor Morrow.
I just want to say a public thank you to everyone who put their name forward in this last election, both for school district, but also for council. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there that way, and I think we're better for the conversation that we had and this campaign that I think was positive and forward-looking. And I just want to publicly thank everyone for putting their names forward. I know it takes a lot of commitment and definitely a little bit of vulnerability to put yourself out there.
Thank you. Other reports from council. Councillor Cunningham.
I'd like to mirror Councillor Moreau's thoughts on the election. It's It takes a lot to put your name out there, expose yourself, get into the neighborhood, and then possibly get in this seat and spend 4 years of your life dedicated to the city and that. But also, I have a question, Emerson Place. Somebody came in the other day wanting, Emerson Place is a very short road in our city, but it is a road, not an alley. And when they came in, it was identified as an alley, and if any work had to be done on it, they were told their taxes would go up. And I'd like to find out if it's actually a road or an alley. It has mail delivered and everything else, so I'd just like to know for the people that live on Emerson Place if it's a road or an alley, because they have some major concerns with potholes in their short little road that are quite deep.
Okay, we'll let staff look into that. Other reports from council? Okay, so the inauguration meeting for the new council is on November 5th. Look forward to seeing the community out for that. So, entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.